car?
I don't know. It looked like I just saw him replacing a lower control arm, and I'm sure everything else in the front end's been up too. So we'll just get out there and limp around and try to do the best we can again. The Wins Kmart Delco battery cars running off a good practice. We felt like we had a good shot. We were trying to be conservative and change tires and get on the right brand to start the race because we thought we had a good chance. But we get run over again.
Lake Speed, just one of a number of very frustrated drivers down here on pit road. Let's go down the pit road with Bob Varsha.
Well, we're behind the wall where the Barry Dodson and the crew is working feverishly to get Rusty Wallace back into this race. The car is an absolute mangled mess. A big problem was dirt. When he got down onto that soft, new soil down on the infield here at Richmond, they got a dirt all up into the chassis and up into the exhaust. They had to use broomsticks to try to get all the dirt out of the exhaust. Rusty has fired up the engine, and it does work. The question now is just whether they can get the bodywork fastened down to the satisfaction of the NASCAR inspectors and get him back into this race. A wild start here at the new Richmond International Raceway. Don't go away. It's going to be a long, exciting day.
All right, the field under caution from an incident that happened at the very outset of the race. In lap number 1, they came to the line out of turn number 2. We had an incident and a second incident as they came to the caution flag. Let's go to Jerry Garrett for an update.
Down here with Dale Inman and Richard Petty's pits. And Dale, Lake Speed tells us that they got together out there. What's Richard's version on what happened?
Well, he said he went in between two cars, one come up and one come down. He was just caught there, and you know, we got against the wheel. We got against the wheel some, and of course the sheet metal tore off the right front. And until we run, I don't know how much it'll affect the car.
Is Richard telling you anything on the radio about the car right now?
No, it's hard to tell anything. You know, the steering wheel hadn't changed its position, so evidently it should be okay. But you know, the sheet metal damage, it won't hurt you that much on this track. But you know, there's still a bunch of laps to go, and you hate to be where you're at with a car that's been pretty bad.
Okay, a few questions remain down here in King Richard's pits. Up to you, Ken.
Car number 27, Rusty Wallace, 8 laps down. Car number 5, Bodine, is now 3 laps down. Petty has been able to stay in the lead lap. Let's go to Bob Varsha.
Raymond Beadle owns the car that Rusty Wallace is driving out there. Raymond, what was Rusty able to say about that accident?
Well, we made it through the caution. We'd slowed down. One car kind of pulled down, and Bodine just ran all over him. Bodine was trying to pass 2 cars there, and I don't know what his problem was. Evidently, he can't see.
What's the extent of the damage to the car? Is Rusty saying he can drive it in that condition?
Well, we're checking it out right now. We came in and changed some wheels and cut all the stuff off. I mean, I think we can finish the race, but it's not going to be like it was.
Let's get back upstairs now to Ken Squire.
Jeff Bodine is back on pit road. There you see Rusty Wallace, who has come back on the track and is shown as 8 laps down as the pace car has come in, and we're ready to go racing once again with 12 of 400 laps complete. And the number 12, the Bobby Allison car, being driven by Mike Alexander out in front. And the quick move is on the inside. Michael Waltrip from 5th takes a shot, goes into 4th. As he moves up, tries to challenge Rick Wilson and falls off a little as they come into turn number 2. In the back straightaway, there you see car number 25. That's Ken Schrader in the 2nd spot. Rick Wilson's in 3rd. Brett Bodine has fallen back to 5th as Michael Waltrip, who's having a good weekend here at the track, is up into 4th spot. Car number 88, Greg Sachs, has taken over in 6th. Butch Miller is in 7th. Rodney Combs in 8th. A little further back here we see Ricky Rudd in 9th, and Lee Falk is running in 10th position. For the moment, Mike Alexander is drawing away. Alexander will have a regular ride for the Stavola brothers all of next year. Discovered that just last night, that Mike Alexander will go in all Winston Cup races next year driving for the Stavola brothers, but it will be number 84. The number 12 is still very much reserved and ready for the return of the leader of the Alabama gang, Bobby Allison. Here you see the Allison car. Mike Alexander, one of his proteges, up there just drawing away now by about 15, 20 car lengths in turn number 1. It's good to see the old number 12 flickering up in 1st spot.
Well, one thing you have to understand, Mike Alexander does have Hoosier tires on, and they were 0.3 of a second a lap faster than the Goodyear. It should last for 30 or 40 laps. That's the question. If it does, then Mike Alexander and these cars can drive away.
Take a look at this struggle a little further back in the pack. There you see the number 88. That's Greg Sachs in the 5th position. Right there with him, Ricky Rudd. On the outside, Brett Bodine. When they get that outside groove figured here and get some rubber down, you're going to see, particularly, I think, Rudd and Gant try the high side on this racetrack. Rudd was saying yesterday he thought that would finally work itself up and keep the RPM level a little stronger on the outside. Here you see the 88, Greg Sachs, driving the Baker car, going wheel to wheel with Ricky Rudd down into turn number 1. Into 2, Rudd has the advantage, and it is Rudd back to 5th spot. Challenge on the outside is being made by New York's Greg Sachs. Even running here. Look just behind them. There you see the Brett Bodine car. And alongside of him is car number 31, and that is Butch Miller. Number 30, Waltrip in 4th. Ricky Rudd trying to get the inside on number 30, Michael Waltrip. Late engine work on Waltrip's car last night. We'll have more on that story later. Here's number 26, Ricky Rudd, finding the inside groove in turn number 4, and he has the mark. Rudd goes up to 4th. Let's go back to the lead again. And there you see the Mike Alexander car just drawing away at this point to car number 25, Ken Schrader in 2nd. The 55 car back here in 20th spot as those top runners change positions. 24 cars elected to change positions begins to meander up through the field. There's 400 laps in the race here today at Richmond, Virginia on this new 3/4 mile track. First time it's ever been utilized for Winston Cup competition. Harry Gant, the winner yesterday.
You know what's ironic, Ken? They were all so happy to get rid of the old Richmond because they crashed so much that cost them so much trouble. Then first shot out of the barrel, we have 2 major wrecks. But it appears to me that Mike Alexander in his sportsman race yesterday, and he ran real well, learned an awful lot about this racetrack and has found that groove and is really making time. And if those tires hold, then he's going to lap him a bunch of cars early.
23 laps complete. You see the green car just going into 3rd spot. Down to the bottom, Ricky Rudd going into 2nd spot. There's a lap car just in front of him. That's Morgan Shepherd's car, which is a lap down. So Ricky Rudd is now moving into 2nd spot. That'll move Ken Schrader back to 3rd. Rick Wilson stays in 4th. And a surprise, Butch Miller is having a tremendous run. The Coopersville, Michigan campaigner currently leading. The ASA is in 5th. Alan Kowicki in heavy traffic down here now. See Dave Marcus's number 71 and Darrell Waltrip right there beside him, way back in the field. That's back in the 20th position. 21st position is where Kowicki is deployed as he tries to work up through the field.
You can see how smooth the racetrack is. Everyone said it was just a beautiful, smooth racetrack. Things are just working so well for all their cars. They're not going sideways. Look at Alan Kowicki, just a day in the park. You know, it looks like he's going down Interstate 70.
Car number 31 has just picked up another spot. Butch Miller has moved into 4th. Rick Wilson falling to 5th. There's what it looks like from outside, back in that 20th position battle with Waltrip there, Alan Kowicki, Davey Allison, who pitted early in the going, gave up his lead. Remember, he was right up in the front when we began this function today. Davey Allison sitting on the pole. Car number 12, Mike Alexander, out in front as you take a look back to
Richard Petty has hit the wall in the 3rd and 4th turn.
And you see him falling off.
Caution is out.
In that 14-degree bank, falling off down into the 3rd groove up, 70 feet wide, and it looks like the end of the day on Petty, or they may get him back laps down. Could be repaired. Certainly busted up the right front. Richard Petty in serious trouble with car number 43. Brings out the 2nd caution flag of the day. Oh, that's unfortunate for Petty. A 13-time winner here as they come to the 28th lap was when the caution flag fell. So with the 2nd caution out, Mike Alexander's big lead is eroded, and he's going to pit along with the rest of the leaders. We'll be back to Richmond in a moment. So at the 31 lap mark, Butch Miller is now the new leader after several of the front runners pulled on to pit road. Dale Earnhardt has come to 2nd, Bobby Hillen to 3rd, Bill Elliott to 4th, Sterling Marlin to 5th, Terry Labonte to 6th, Neil Bonnet in 7th, Darrell Waltrip is 8th, Alan Kowicki up to 9th, and Phil Parsons into 10th. Let's take a look again, John Hayes, at that incident after the caution flag down here going into turn number 1. The incident that started it was Petty